Thank you. So we are recording this session. If you don't want to appear in the recording, just turn off your cameras. That would be fine, but this is very exciting. Our first ever open mic reading on the Poets Corner. We have about 14 people that have been confirmed to read this afternoon. We had at least twice that sign up that were interested, and I was so pleased with that turnout, and I wish we had time for all of them, but if we have extra time at the end, we might actually open it up to people that raise their hands. We'll see how that happens, or if it happens, but if you have a poem ready and you have that opportunity, we will. And I just have to say that each of our readers has a 3-minute time limit, and I will be keeping time, so I will interrupt. And I hate to do that. I apologize in advance if that happens, but we want to keep things moving, and I don't think it'll happen. I'm sure our readers have rehearsed a little bit what they're planning to read today. So a couple of introductory messages, and then I'm going to introduce our guest MC for today. First of all, the Poets Corner was founded by Catherine Seitz and myself, and in June of 2020. So we've gone through our 1-year anniversary already. We have created a wonderful advisory board whose names are listed on the website, and I just want to thank them, those of our advisors who are on today. We really appreciate that help as we think about exciting things for the future of the Poets Corner. But it was created really to create and expand community of writers and readers of poetry and short prose. So thank you so much for being a part of today's event. Our next event, we usually do events on the second Sunday of each month, but this summer the schedule's been a little bit different. And so this is the third Sunday, and August event will also be on the third Sunday. It will be August 15th, and we will be welcoming back Natalie Goldberg. And if you don't know Natalie, she's the author of 16 books, including the bestseller on writing called Writing Down the Bones. And she will be reading from and talking about her latest book, which is called 3 Simple Lines, A Writer's Pilgrimage to the Heart and Homeland of Haiku. So she'll also be in conversation with me about haiku, Zen, the writing practice, and whatever other topics come up as we talk, and I'm really looking forward to having Natalie back on the Poets Corner. So now I want to introduce our guest MC for today's event, avabaeza. Rafi is the Director of Marketing and Communications for Maine Media Workshops in college, but that's just part of the very rich creative life that Rafi leads. In addition to his career as an award-winning creative director, he's a musician. He's an Elvis impersonator. And today should be a lively interlude on a rainy afternoon in Maine with Rafi doing a little bit of musical interludes and introducing each of our readers. So I'm going to turn it over to Rafi now.
Well, that's all right, Mama. That's all right with you. That's all right, Mama. Just any way you do, that's all right. That's all right. That's all right now. you very much. Thank you, Meg. Really excited to be here. Summertime and the living is easy, right? So we're gonna keep this show moving. I'm going to, we're zooming here, right? That's what's happening? Yeah. All right. Whew. All right, let's do this. Our first poet today is Pamela Brunell. Take away, Pamela.
Okay. This poem is about my husband. It's called David, the Poet. I see ants crawling on the wall in the kitchen, and I crush them with my fingers and spray them with vinegar. They creep into the honey and wreak havoc with the syrup. David sees ants and he admires their habits. He says, "Don't hurt them. They're wonderful little beings." I walk through spider webs and become entangled. David catches flies and feeds them to the spider. He studies the patterns it spins. He watches it mate and capture new prey. David stops on a busy highway to save a chameleon as it saunters into the traffic. He waves at the cars to stop and carries the chameleon to the side of the road, while I scream that we could be hit by a passing car as he rescues the chameleon. David talks to snakes. He plays with a python. He drapes it around his shoulders. He pets and ponders its perfection. David admires the heron prancing along the pond. He notices the birds building nests, and he moves with the cows. He sees the first star. He shows us the planets and the constellations as they light the sky. He ponders the universe, black holes, the Big Bang. He pauses for owls as they stare into the headlights. He collects bark, pods, seashells, and studies their Fibonacci pattern. He's like a little child discovering the newness for the first time. He lives in the metaphor. He sees the metaphor in everything, everywhere. Sometimes I try to change him, but I know I shouldn't. I want to be a poet. He is a poet. He is the poem. He lives and breathes poetry while I worry about the consequences. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Pamela. I love that. He sees the first star.
Way to guy. All right, our next. Thank you, Pamela. Next poet is Betts Siegfried. Big fan of yours. Looking forward to hearing this. Betts lives in Canada and just got her MFA from Maine Media. Congratulations, Betts. And
thank you, Rafi.
Take it away.
Okay, I am in Canada, and this is a poem about one of the many interesting visitors we've had at our summer place here. Dr. Jelly. He came to call one day, unannounced and unknown, an ex-vaudevillian turned veterinarian. He talked about cows, though his name was Dr. Jelly. His talent was shortbread and the piano. He played the old songs and danced around the room, waving his cane and grinning through his dentures. We watched the light reflect off his brilliantined hair. He once brought two cousins, a minister and wife. She was blind. He was a flirt. They joined him in revelry with a hymn thrown in. For years and years, he came to see us, and always, when dinner was done, rising out of his chair with arms extended, he sang, "We'll meet again, don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day." There came a time we did not meet again. He did not come back to call, to sing his songs, to tell his tales. Yet I fondly recall his Cheshire cat grin, his dance steps and whimsy, as his limericks linger within these cottage log walls. We still faithfully follow his recipe for shortbread. Thank you.
All right, the next poem is going to be read by, written by Josephine Chaparro, and she's from Chicago. Wants to buy an island where she can grow vegetables and write. So it's quite an aspiration. Hope you get there, Josephine. Take it away. I think you're on mute.
Okay?
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you. The title of my poem is Life. I have learned that life is a play, and I am the playwright. I have learned that life is a poem, and I am the poet. I have learned that life is a story, and I am the writer. I have learned that life is a painting, and I am the artist. I have learned that life is a musical note, and I am the composer. Thank you.
Next is David Brunell. Go ahead, David.
Okay. Glad to be here. This poem is called The Eternal Spring. You are the springtime in each new day, your hope eternal, ever renewing my heart. Glowing sunrise, toasting every 24/7. Shining shield against shadow and darkness, an inspiring sunset and sleepful communion. You're the promise of spring at any moment, gentle, warming rain to my wavering spirits, nourishing the roots and rivers of my being, flushing away alien lapses of non-lovingness, opening my pores to cleansing of the Holy Spirit. You're the sweet breathing of infinite possibility, aspiring to new horizons, both inner and outer, to keep growing and reaching onward through self-shackling beyond today's grasp and imagination. Your co-conspirator against nemesis without and within, fearless foe to demons harbored or lurking. Your cheerleader of yes to new adventure, and co-pilot in new challenge and questions. Co-cavorter in nature's universe of wonder. What a year of blessings and gratitude. Berries, tomatoes, peppers, pies, and pasta. Yoga, gym for our bods, church for our spirit. Family and friends salt for our souls. How fortunate we are for joy of heart, loving, listening, learning, living fully each moment, foraging, frolicking in life's crannies, and restoring embraces, discovering we're bigger than the sum of our parts. You're queen of the dots, I'm king of the spaces. Together we can play for all the aces. Gratitude to God for good fortunes of health, passion, curiosity, precious family, and more. We give thanks for all the shoulders we stand on with reverence and appreciation for those walking beside us. You are my spring breeze, always hand in hand, cherished gift, rendering fertile our ever-promising land.
Very uplifting. Important for now. Yeah, thank you so much, David, for that. Our next poet is Janinetheodore Theodore from New Orleans. Awesome place. She's a poet, actress, and singer. Okay, Janine.
Thank you. This is called Alms. Now is all we have. Why do we invest so much time in yesterday's regrets, hoping tomorrow will bring what we wished for today? All the while, blue morning glories peek out to greet the ascending sun. The wind whips golden and red leaves into a delightful dance, sashaying down your street. What have we embraced today that will wrap us in a blanket of ease as we rest our heads upon moonlit sleep? Meanwhile, what about the man who walks up the street, stops at your house, asks for 75 cents, trying to gather enough for a meal, all the while apologizing for taking up your time? You go inside, bring back a few dollars, not enough to satiate his hunger. You wonder what happened in this man's life that he's now bent to begging. Another left behind by a society that forgets to care for its people. I see behind his weathered eyes and know he possesses a nest egg of experience to share, but he's tired and he's hungry and his clothes are dirty, but not worn. And he's seeking a spot of earth to lie sequestered, a sanctuary of safety, to lie his head past the night. He thanks me. I'm speechless as he walks away. I berate myself for not offering a meal, for not taking his clothes to my washing machine, crippled by my fear, not wanting to be too involved with a stranger that could be me one day. And I wonder if we are not all strangers to each other in the end. Yesterday, yesterdays, autumn leaves, songs written in the olden days, golden days, still soothe an aching heart. Why be held prisoner to our can-dos, must-dos, longings behind our shadow, instead of being with that sound of the traffic whizzing by? Imagine it's a sun-soaked ocean wave racing to the shore, forsooth, a balm that makes exhaust wearable at sundown. Thank you.
Thank you, Janine. Next, we have Eric Evans. He's a poet and musician living in Casanova. Not Casanova, but it's not New York. And he's the author of an upcoming book, Ghost House. Go ahead, Eric.
Hey, thank you, Rafi. I'd like to read a poem that I wrote in honor of my wedding anniversary. My wife Heidi and I have been married a little over 8 years. This poem is called Anniversary Song. When I first came to this house in this village, you were already here in the middle of a life you well knew. I struggled to catch up, which meant learning to accept the many mysteries of the ordinary, including those within myself. I remember there, the high hall in the center of the house where we had our wedding, and the bronze bell we hung over the terrace the next year, which we ring each year on our anniversary. There has been our long mutual struggle to be present among the many things that did not work or that had no use within and without. And the walks taken in all weathers, friends gained and lost, celebrations, snow and mud, enveloping quietude, cat funerals in the backyard. These things have fallen into place in my life like leaves falling from a tree and finding earth. When I came, I was happy to have a place with you, a place in which at last to be simple, though my old life, familiar life, felt distant in another world called the past. And I know myself now mostly as a small thing, loosely tethered to it through time. But late at night, the tether falls away. We are together and deep in dreams, on a bed adrift in night, and utterly free. And in time, much more surely will fall away until nothing is left but that bed and those dreams.
Thank you, Eric. And we're going to wrap up this section with, oh, great. So it's fine artist, photographer, I guess poet, John Paul Caponegro.
Thank you, Rafi. This poem has taken on additional overtones given recent environmental legislation. I'll let you connect the dots here. It's called Marking Territories. Predator, as if I'm not. There's nothing to be gained from our confrontation. You're a wild thing who broke your string, like I'd like to. We should both be free to run. I could check a rock, but instead, I just stand my ground. This is my yard. We both know it, but you've decided you want to prove it. You cock your ears first to one side, then to the other, your eyes fixed on mine. You walk slowly around and behind me and lift your leg. Suddenly, my wall's wet. Never taking my eyes off yours, I walk to your spot and turn your wet to mine. Now you're really curious. You quicken to the other side and repeat. So I repeat this chemical communication. There's no need to sniff it. Even I can smell it. Our bond is forged. You puff, you hop, you bounce. Now you play. I have no tail to wag. You have no hands to push or pull. Our breathing grows faster, fuller, heavier. Our growls escalate. Your teeth on me is fine with you. My teeth on you, too much. You disengage, then lope away into your yard. Your eyes on mine, and lift your leg again. My eyes on you, I do not. The epigraph is by Farley Mowat. We have doomed the wolf, not for what it is, but for what we deliberately and mistakenly perceive it to be, the mythologized epitome of a savage, ruthless killer, which is in reality no more than a reflected image of ourself. Thank you.
That was great. Thank you. Meg, is there is there anything you want to say before we go into a musical interlude, or?
I just want to say that those were great, and I really loved hearing from our first half poets. That it terrific. And I wish I could just applaud on each one. That's the one downside of Zoom, is you don't get to hear the applause. So, yep, let's keep on going.
All right, we're gonna do Treat Me Nice. All right, go ahead. When I walk through the door, baby, be polite. If you treat me so, if you don't treat me right, don't you ever kiss me once, kiss me twice. Treat me nice. I know you've been told it's not a fair to tease. So if you come on cold, I'm really gonna freeze. If you don't want me to be, hold it tight. Treat me nice. Make me feel at home. If you really care, scratch my back and run your pretty fingers through my hair. You know I'll be astray if you ask me to. And if you don't behave, I'll walk right out on you. If you want my love, to take my advice. Treat me nice. Make me feel at home. If you really care, scratch my back and run your pretty fingers through my hair. You know I'll be a slave if you ask me to. If you don't behave, I'll walk right out on you. If you really want my love and advice, treat me nice. Treat me nice. If you really want my love, then treat me nice. Thank you.
Rafi, will you introduce your band members?
Yes, I'd love to. Behind me we have the Mopes. And over here we have Ravi Doman playing guitar, sweet guitar. Have killer bass with Cece Barrow, killer bass. And over here we have Matthias Doman killing it on the drums.
Thank you. You guys are great. Love it. Thank you.
Actually, after the second set, they would like to kind of do their own piece, a little Beatles song. So maybe we can try that afterwards if we have time.
All right.
All right. So, I have two relatives here. I have another one coming on, a Latinx college student just moving into Wesleyan and joining us in New York, Massachusetts. Where are you? Massachusetts today. Avabaeza. Take it away, Ava.
Thank you. Hi. The name of my piece is called A Proud Woman in America. Getting catcalled is one of the many perks of being a woman in America. I mean, it is a perk, right? Because they tell me to take it like a compliment and therefore I should feel flattered. Flattered when the 50-year-old man whistles at me as I walk down the street. Or is it the 25-year-old who feels the need to comment on the fit of my jeans? As a woman in America, or frankly anywhere in the world, we are used to objectification, used to smiling when we are uncomfortable, used to keeping our heads low as to not give the wrong impression. As a woman in America, it is nearly impossible to do the right thing. If you are too kind, then you are asking for it. If you are show too much skin, then you are asking for it. If you get too drunk, then you are asking for it. If you walk alone at night, then you are asking for it. At the age of 17, living in a small town, I cannot count the amount of times that I have been followed, yelled at, objectified, each time a violation of my space. And while it happens on the street by strangers, it also happens in my day-to-day conversations. A male teacher once said to me, "Girls are too nice these days. They need to be careful, or when they go into the real world, they're going to give guys the wrong impression and end up getting hurt." Wrong. Somehow he managed to place the blame on the female. Wrong. As though our kindness is the threat to our safety. Wrong. As though we must change in order to stay safe. Wrong. Whether we notice it or not, from the day we are born, our lives are biased. Boys are taught to be strong and proud. Girls are taught to be pretty and to sit down. And no, I am not being hot-headed or rash. No, I am not overreacting. No, do not invalidate my experiences with the adjectives that every person has imprinted in their minds of what it means to be a girl who fights back, a girl who talks back, a girl who speaks up. I cringe at the thought of letting the patriarchy obtain yet another silenced woman. I refuse to let that be me. Just like that of self-defense, I kick and scream, scratch and yank. I will not believe what the world has told me, what it has shown me. I will not accept defeat. I am a woman, and that makes me stronger. But by no means is this life equal, not in regards to race, gender, creed, or sexual orientation. As I grow, I will continue to get bigger as the universe intended. I will not shrink down to make others comfortable. I will take up space, demand my seat at the table, and raise my voice if I so damn well please. A proud woman in America, that is what I am. Thank you.
Wow.
Amazing. Thank you, Ava.
Hi, can I interrupt for 1 second? I'm losing power, so I'm going to switch to another computer.
Okay, Jane.
All right. Okay.
Great. Next, we have Carla Sarett from a San Francisco-based poet, essayist, and fiction writer. Her debut novel, A Closet Feminist, will be coming out in 2022. All right, go ahead, Carla. Thank you for joining.
And thank you, Meg, for organizing this. This is one of a series of poems I wrote after my husband's death in 2019. It's called Separate Cars. Oh, I never recall the bumpy flights or the rude passengers. Only the waiting in freezing airport lounges, those endless waits, the soiled napkins, the cold pizza, the road warriors flaunting their billable hours and stabbing their laptops, defeated by thunder and lightning and dying engines, women shouting into their phones. I don't know when, darling. I just don't know. I landed at midnight after a storm. I waited for you at baggage claim until there wasn't any luggage. Your cell was dead, or you left it behind. You got lost somewhere between Terminal A and Terminal B. You're impossible, I said. Possibly, you said. But then we'd meet by accident in the Whole Foods parking lot. Like teens on a first date, we sailed into the store, rolling our cart, throwing in blood oranges and fresh figs, rainbow chard and dandelions, and spicy sardines from Portugal. Such luxury, so much more than we ever anticipated. Our surprise romance in the parking lot, and what sweet sorrow to go home in separate cars. I'm in a laundromat, the type that stays open all night and isn't very clean. Even in my dreams, I can't be glamorous like Virginia Woolf. I'm not walking to the lighthouse. I'm not walking into water. No tea parties for me. No, I'm separating light from dark, like generations of women before me, and waiting for another cycle to begin. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. Next, we have Bill Waldorf, and he's published several anthologies and is a member of the US One Poets. Go ahead, Bill.
Thank you so much. Rolled eggs. A morning's rolled egg should be warm, not runny, but soft on the palate as it moves about the mouth. Cooked over a slow, low flame so as not to leave marks. The whites homogenized to present the golden yellow dome of a folded layer mixture. Each a pull of the egg towards the middle of the pan builds those layers as the pan is tilted gently. Edges roll into a tube. Place the golden tube on a warm plate. Drizzle butter over it for presentation. It should glisten in anticipation as a creamy burst of flavor explodes with each bite as it slides down your throat. To force a pause, your tongue feels its savor. Linger briefly near the end as you long for another bite from life.
Hey. Thank you, Bill. Next, we have Jerny Doughty. Jerny Doughty. She's originally from Britain, but has lived in Maine for a number of years now. And take it away, Jenny.
Hi. This poem is called Swish. Summer evenings, the bop-bop backbeat of basketball soundtracks my street. The neighbor's boy who mows my lawn for $15 is out there, his hoop perched on the curb, its three-point line spray painted on the road. He fakes, dribbles, sometimes with other teens, such snappy moves he is a one-man full-court press, or like tonight, alone, a hoopster, playmaker who can defeat the entire Lakers lineup. He's grown this year, starts high school next, and muscles are starting to show on his arms. His skin, still winter white, will be tan by fall. He's working out, stretching to be tall enough to dunk. Sweat stains his tank top, and he zooms around again, practicing layups and bricks the shot, jump shots and air balls, scoops it up like the clock's running out, then at last sends up a hook shot, and time hangs with him in the air. Beads of sweat stop mid-roll, his hand stretched high, fingers splayed as the ball drops through, never touching the rim. And watching from my window, I stretch my fingers too, as if to applaud, while he runs around to do it all again. Basketball, beating the street in the warm dusk.
All right, thank you, Jenny. Next is Jane Rothwell.
Yes, hi. Sorry I had to switch off. But
perfect.
This poem, this is called Down That Road. She looked up at me, taking a breath, with a question. Was I a good mother? It was whispered through her beautiful brown eyes. These were her words, while lucid for a moment, my response never to hurt her. Jubilantly, I raised my arms and twirled. Look at who you raised. She smiled, closed her eyes, relieved. I think it an honor.
Thank you, Jane.
Thank you.
Next, we have Anne Van Buren. Go ahead, Anne.
Hi. This poem's called Dancing with Light. It was an old-fashioned photo, circular with edges blurred, a sepia wedding, everyone dancing close together, spinning slowly at the same rate that daylight sifts through sky at dawn. From a bundle of people, an ant asks a question through her gap tooth, as though she wants to remember where she left her last step with the man she loved. Grandma is there, and Grandpa, secured by many buttons and proud. Nobody too fancy, everyone tailored as they were in the 1940s. Each turn softens the rim of the photograph, and more people disappear. Soon I won't find anyone I recognize, as I can't see my mother or father who dance beyond this diminished aperture into a wider, open circle where all one sees is light. This poem is called Evening Palimpsest, and it's after the underpainting of a field that revealed a faceless girl and her horse in the painting called Evening by Winslow Homer. Found, a horse, a girl, a stall, dug deep beneath the painted scene, hanging on the museum wall. Light between linen threads, trace a lacy pattern to the floor. An overlap of dappled shadow sifts the curve of leaning forward, the combing, brushing, leather saddle, silent labor boxed in light, distant landscape, translucent fiber, soak, salty, swishing paint. Did Winslow dream this lady's hour, or take the canvas from her hand to make the field beneath this mountain yield wild flowers from clay and sand? Whose dream has molded fields before us? Whose home is now erased? Did Winslow scrape her into shadow, trim her dress in brown and red? Was the vision ever realized from the undrawn young girl's head?
Thank you, Anne. And the last scheduled poet we have is Margaret Haberman. She lives in Hope and is a fan of Poets Corner. It's a great vibe.
I am a fan. And thank you to the Poets Corner. This is such a great creation that's been a big part of my life since the beginning of the pandemic. This is a poem that I wrote recently, and the prompt for the poem was to begin every line with the word let. And the name of the poem is The Dime. Let the calendula take over the middle of the garden in a chorus of tangerine orange and lemon yellow. Let the peace of four-way intersections be the answer to which way to turn. Let your sister have the last word. Let the ants on the white and fuchsia peonies crawl freely under tightly bound petals. Let the friend who broke your heart believe it has mended. Let the dime stay on the pavement for someone else to find. Let your mother believe till the end of her days that you love her oatmeal cookies. Let the man you loved when you were 20 never know you still dream about him. Let the aphids have their way with the arugula and leave their tiny holes on each spicy leaf. Let the man in the fancy car to your left go first. Let your neighbor's golden retriever take your shoe, and let your journals burn before you die. Go around. Let the woodland path be for the fisher. Take the way through brambles, slash, and pine. Thank you all. Thank you all for being here.
What a wonderful message to end on.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Margaret. Rafi, do you want to go to a song and then we might have time for 2 or 3 readers?
Oh, I'd love to. I'm going to introduce Ravi Doman and yeah, of course. All right. All right. Take it away. Introduce yourself and take it away.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. And on behalf of myself and the group, we've enjoyed the poetry so far, and we'd like to do a song for you. I guess we should just jump right into it. A little bit. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Nobody ever loved me like she does.
Yeah.
Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. For the first time, you know it's gonna last. It's a love that lasts forever. It's a love that has no past. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Thank you, everybody. And I'd like to just make a couple of announcements, I guess. And this has been our first performance ever in front of an audience. So, you know, we're very excited for this opportunity to play. And if you like what you heard,
could you, I'm sorry to interrupt, could you speak into the mic a little more? I'm having trouble hearing you.
All right, yeah. Let me turn it up a little bit. We'll be playing at Mary Lee Park in Rockport on August 1st at 4 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you, you guys are great. Can't wait to hear you in person.
Aren't they great?
They are. Thank you. So I see one hand up. So I think we have time for maybe 2 or 3 at the most readers. If there's anybody in our audience who would like to read a poem. I think that Hannah Wilder has had her hand up.
Hi, I do poetry under Hannah Wiseheart. So, and I live in Santa Fe, not far from Natalie, and have studied with her for years and lived in Maine for 10 years. This is called Reunion. Can you hear me okay?
Okay. I can, it's great, thank you.
After 38 years, you arrive for lunch, nori rolls and wasabi. Ah, that's what I was thinking of as I drove up the main turnpike, you say. Imagine, back then we had never eaten them together. What are the chances? By evening, we drive to Goose Rocks, park at the small grocery lit up inside against dark sky, and leave your car, walk barefoot between houses to the beach, past people on their porches laughing, clinking glasses, others face-lit around bonfires to the end of the sand spit where this river leaves land to meet our ocean. We stand quiet, listening to the water's soft rippling, breathe in parallel, you muted by time, I aware of each movement, each tone, so missed, so known, so home. At last, wearing your jacket, I turn and lose balance against you as we begin the trek back. Have we each been walking in our own sand all these years, trying to keep from sinking? Back at the grocery, now inside the store, we stop at a fluorescent lit vegetable bin, and you begin to recite a recipe for the one dish you can make. Hearing nothing, I watch your mouth move, your eyes, hair over forehead, hear nothing but the sound of your voice, your desire to please me. Back in the car, I smile in the darkness as we ride smoothly along the marsh road until we reach the corner where under the streetlight, suddenly after all these years, you lean over, stop the car, and kiss me hard, so I know you still mean it.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad you came on, Hannah, and have that connection to Santa Fe and Maine. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to raise a hand and read? Or any of our wonderful readers that would like to read a second poem?
Meg, Polly, it has her hand up.
Great, Polly, go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. And Hannah, I know right where you were on Goose Rocks Beach. I'm bicycling distance away. I'm a closet poet and I use it for therapy. This is called Taking an Honest Look at My Own Prejudice, Flashbulb of Memory. I was 12 in Washington, D.C. My mother, my brother, my sister, and me at a park in the noon hour heat, buying snow cones oozing with ice chips and strawberry syrup. With joy dripping from parched lips, I sang out, "Thank you, sir," as the curly-haired man handed me mine. Then a sudden smack on my face, disgraced by mother, shocked I would ever call a Black man sir. No other words about that day ever. Just a speechless beginning to an endless divide between mother and me, with no map about how to move on. Another time, maybe about the same time, there's no reason or rhyme for remembering, but I do. I heard clues of a club where no Jews were allowed. That was the club where my parents paid dues just to belong. When I was still young, I wasn't allowed in a Catholic church. I didn't have to eat fish on Friday either, so I didn't mind. I didn't even stop to wonder. Rules were rules, and I followed them to the letter. It was better that way. I didn't have to spend days in my room or go to bed without supper. There were unspoken rules too, dirty looks that nailed us properly into place. Holding hands with boys was taboo. and having bangs that shaded my eyes looked cheap, just like bare legs with capezios. Put on your saddle shoes and your gray blazer and skirt. Pick up your books and come home with A's. The honor roll was my goalpost those days, and please and thank you, they were the keys. Beyond the ladder of success, standing tall against the wall, it had iron rungs that lifted me up just like Jack at the top of that beanstalk. There was a ton of talk about various degrees and who to please and how to look for Mr. Right when I kept introducing Mr. Wrong. That is not where you belong. Just stand up on your sturdy legs and you'll be strong. So now I'm here on the outer edge of humanity. The old ladder is lying on its side in the garage. The classy clubs that were are not anymore, nor are my parents. My legs are strong, but I'm wondering still, where am I going wrong? Where do I even belong? I think I have not learned to fully see the sacred quality of anyone. Can I truly embrace the other if I haven't first learned to trust me?
Thank you. Thank you, Polly, for sharing the poem with us. And I think that Jenny had her hand up. Is that true? And Richard Wright-Smith, did you have your hand up?
No.
You did not. Okay, I thought I saw a hand next to your
I
name.
was applauding.
Ah, that was applause hands. Okay. Well, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, Richard. Go ahead, Jenny.
Okay. This poem is called Household Gods, and I learned the Latin name for household gods was the Lares, and their shrine was a lararium, which I thought was a great word. So I wanted to write a poem I could put the word lararium in. The epigraph to the poem is a quote from the poet Linda Gregerson. And the quote is, "The household gods have abandoned us to the gods of jurisprudence and suburban sprawl," which again, I thought was a great line. So the poem is called Household Gods. We should keep a shrine, as the Romans did, to household gods. Somebody has to be in charge. Although I'd like to think it could be me in my role as Vesta, guardian of the hearth, or maybe him, my household genius, semi-divine man of the wood and trees, the paterfamilias. Some things are out of control. The basement leak, the socket the electrician forgot to include in the circuit, the cake that emerged sad and flat from the oven, never-ending renovations I'd like to hand over. Traveling away, I can see they order these matters differently elsewhere. In Sweden, I stayed in a place tranquil in white and blue with a central tiled stove that served as a shrine to heat the house. In Italy, they celebrate the home's divinity with Chianti and pasta, their churches with communion, host and wine. Gods live where there is eating and drinking. So I should set up my lararium in the kitchen. The art of transition performed when I open the door, change shoes, like a new service line bringing fresh water. I can serve my lares with casseroles, cakes, vegetables, just picked herbs, farm cheeses, jams and pastries served in handmade dishes on embroidered cloths amid the incense of dinner cooking and the containers for milk and wine, which I will share with them. My sacred lamp burns under the microwave over the stove. Photographs of ancestors will decorate the wall to whom we offer the sacrifice of memory. In the god seniority stakes, our household gods can seem less powerful than the gods of jurisprudence, though once I heard one snicker when a meter maid inscribed the wrong license plate number on my parking ticket, rendering my fine sacrifice needless. Suburban gods only require the sacrifice of time spent edging rush hour traffic through lane closures. city gods who provide playgrounds and parks, even snatches of forest where we must be certain to pick up the offerings of our dogs, allow us the view over a blue bay, busy harbor and islands for the sacrifice of property tax. The pantheon of federal gods sits in a large white temple in Washington, appearing only quadrennially. The cosmic planetary deities are too remote for me to give credence to their omnipotence, besides which the destruction of the world to create an interstellar bypass will take place after my time, Dei Volente. Deities I can calm with libations, garnish with garlands of marigolds or a vase of flowers are within my reach. I'll pour glasses of wine for them and me and turn inward towards the hearth.
Love that poem, Jenny. And what was the name of the hearth for household gods?
Lararium. The gods are Lares, and so it's a lararium, you know, like an aquarium for water or something.
Okay, I'll have to build one in my house.
Yeah, we all need one.
I think Bill said he had another poem he'd like to share, and that's probably where we should wrap it. It's about 5 after 5. I'm happy to take any, after that, any questions in the chat that you have for our poets, and then I'll ask Rafi if he has a final song to lead us out.
Okay. So I talked about the egg, now I'll talk about a 3-legged chicken. There once was a chicken farmer from Kansas who solved his family's problem for drumsticks. Since he and his spouse ate 2, what to do for his 3 girls, Agnes, Penny, and Sue. He thought and thought till he developed skill and had to breed friars with more members. Now 2 plump thighs would only give him size. He labored for 3 to be devoured. Strong booster to an amorous rooster, fastest cockatoo in the whole brood too. Quickly able to breed a 3-legged seed, that extra leg so fast, chasers ran last. This hen can outrun all, none can catch her on any day. Her thighs, none will save her.
Thank you, Bill. Catherine, did you have any comments you wanted to make before I turn it back to Rafi? And we have a lot of, you're muted. There's a lot of thank yous in the chat there to all of our poets.
I just think this was so much fun, and I'm grateful to everybody who read.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you for doing this with me. It's so much fun to be able to give people a platform to come together and to share their work. And this is the first time we've done it as an open mic. We will do another open call probably this fall where you submit poems and we select them, but and we'll probably do another open mic sometime. This was so much fun. Thank you. Rafi, do you have...
Rafi. Ooh, thank you, Rafi.
Yes. Thank you, Rafi. Thank you, Lucas, for being our host.
Yeah, I think maybe we'll have a little music interlude as people sign off. Otherwise, okay. August 1st in Rockport Village will be performing, or the Mopes will. So
August 1st for the Mopes, August 15th back at the Poet Corner for Natalie Goldberg. And thank you to our poets.
That's all right, Mama. Just any way you do, that's all right. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right now, Mama. Any way you do. Thank you very much, Poet Corner.
Thank you, Rafi, and thank you to the Mopes. You were terrific.
Thank you, Elvis.
Yes, and thank you, Elvis.
Thank you.
And thank you to all of our poets that read today. Really wonderful. So really appreciate that.
Bye.
Well, nice meeting everyone.
Great. Thank you for being here, Carla. I loved your poem.
Thank you.
Okay.
So nice. I think we had about 52 people here at the peak of it. It was really nice turnout.
We had a bunch of people here from the EU writers group that Anya organizes from Belgium. So we had Belgium here, Wales here.
Oh, how cool is that?
That is great.
And Janine also is in the group with me. So it was great. We were all talking about it yesterday, and then a bunch of them came on. And another woman, Megan, from Vancouver was on.
Ah, love that we had such a widespread.
Yeah.
And Anya does a lot of workshop stuff with Natalie as well. So we use the writing down the bones as our base for our writing. So it was really nice. There's Janine. Janine's over there. She's still, and then we're both part of a poetry group as well.
Nice.
Yeah. So we had
Josephine, I think you also write with Natalie, right? Is that how you were introduced to us through?
Yes. I heard about you too when I was taking one of her sessions.
Yeah,
that's great for being here.
It's great to be on next week or next month rather.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah,
haiku too.
Yeah. The haiku, her book is really interesting.
It is. So if you'll be on, get some questions ready.
Yeah. We always have great. And then she's also on Upaya, Upaya in Santa Fe. She's doing a weekend at Upaya, I think, of haiku.
Great.
Really great.
Great.
Yeah. So that'll be nice.
Well, I don't know about you guys. I just loved having the music today. That was
I
fun.
loved having music. I was dancing.
Yeah, that was a good idea. Because it sort of, it blends with the poetry really nicely.
It does, and it keeps it lively. And I think when you have a lot of readers, you just got to keep things moving.
Yes. Yeah, it was good. And he's great.
Yeah.
Oh, he's great. He's adorable.
With all the Elvis music, it's perfect.
I agree.
Yeah.
It worked for the summertime theme, so.
Yes.
And the Mopes, one of the guys is Rafi's nephew. And boy, Rafi's daughter, Ava, what's she terrific?
Great.
Yeah.
Somebody wrote in our next inaugural poet.
Great. And she's such a her face is so happy and smiling. And then that poem was so, I thought, oh, this doesn't, her whole face, she looks just so happy. I kept looking at her when I read my poem.
Such a presence.
Yeah.
Great presence.
Yeah. A nice aura.
Like her dad.
Yeah.
Nice. And Janine, tell me again where you're from.
New Orleans.
Oh, that's wonderful. And how did you connect to this?
I don't know. I got some kind of an email and responded. I don't know why I got the email. How often do you all meet?
The Poets Corner meets once a month. So we have this, it's usually the second Sunday of the month, but July and August have been the third Sunday. September will go back to the second Sunday. We have 4 women poets who are terrific reading in September. And then in October, we have Mark Burroughs, who's translated a couple of books by Rilke. So he will be reading, along with some European poets, reading some of Rilke's work and talking about his work.
So your meetings are more like you pick certain poets to read, and lecture.
Yeah, we usually do that. For Valentine's Day, we had an open call where we put it out there and then we selected amongst submissions, and we probably do another one of those. But this was our first open mic, which was kind of fun.
Yeah, I'm glad I found it somehow. Serendipity.
Get on our mailing list.
Yeah, you're probably on from Natalie, because Natalie did a reading with them a while ago. Students.
Well, you are now on our mailing list. So when you register for any particular reading, we just add you to the general list unless you ask us not to. And so you'll get notices of all of our future sessions.
Great. Thank you.
And we have a few other things we're thinking about doing. So that's why we created this advisory board, and Pam and David are on it to just help us think about how much we want to do. It's really just Catherine and I doing all the work. And
mostly Meg.
We're thinking about having a chapbook contest. And
wow.
Some things like that. So I think with that, I'm gonna end the session. Thank you all for being here. Thanks,
Thank
Pam.
you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. Good to see you and hear David.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Lucas.
Thank you, Lucas.
You're welcome. Thank you, Meg. Thank you, everybody. This is wonderful.
Come back.
I hope I will.
Good.
Good.